What's happening, gangsters? What is up, one? What is up, all? Welcome to the Mad Poet Show. It's good to be here. Thank you for being here. It is Riffday official. I'm going to have to use that in one of my upcoming show titles. Very good. We are playing the noon Friday show. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. Thank you for being here. Right now, we are playing my 62nd album, I believe. It's entitled Bucket of Blood. Good album title. That song we just played was called The Echo or The Answer. And it is official Friday Riffs. Riffday official. Yes, this is what we do. All right, this next song, there's a lot of songs out there. There's probably some poems, some books, some paintings with this title called No Rest for the Wicked. And I've always been like, why not? They've been hard at work at their wickedness. So I thought I'd give them a little reprieve. This song is called Rest for the Wicked. All right, I feel like things might be working out okay here. I'm online. I was a little. I felt like something was off when I was getting started this morning. I'm like, what have I missed? Because I've got this list I go through when I'm getting ready for the show. It's like, okay, make sure the lights are on. Make sure you got extra picks. Make sure your sunglasses are in the room with you. You know, make sure that the sound is working. Make sure your microphone is on. And I felt like I was missing something. So hopefully I didn't. Okay. This next song is called The Long Way Home. And the first time I played this, my friend Susan was listening, and she put a comment on YouTube where she was watching from and said, Heavy Metal James Bond. I wasn't sure if she was referring to my particular look. I think I had a bow tie on that day. Or if she was talking about the feel of the song, and she said both. So that made me feel pretty good, Heavy Metal James Bond. I kind of like that. So we're going to do a little Heavy Metal James Bond moment here. This song is called The Long Way Home. I've been asked, I was thinking about this while I was playing that song. I've been asked quite a few times about like the meanings behind my songs, if that affects how the song is composed or anything. And generally speaking, that's a no. But I gotta say, I feel like the title of that song doesn't really match up with its energy. It's called A Long Way Home. I almost think I should have switched the titles for that song and the next one. If I'd called that one Limited Visibility, I think it would have worked. And I think this next song actually would have worked a little bit better as The Long Way Home. But it's too late for that now because this album has been long since published. This next one, it slows it down a little bit. It's, tempo-wise, I'd call it a medium-paced piece, but I think it's kind of a lower energy thing. It kind of moves around a bit, though, this one. And I've had a lot of really good comments on this song. I've had a lot of people say that they enjoy the feel of this one. So let's see what happens. This is called Limited Visibility. limited visibility. Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you for coming into the Mad Poet Show. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. This is a show. We are the Mad Poet Society, and this is what we do. Yes. And the title of this next song, for those that are wondering, is We Have a Situation Here. And that's appropriate because, in fact, we do have a situation here. We have a situation that some of you already know what the situation is. But we need to talk about it because, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the G sharp minor portion of the show. You are welcome. And I'm going to turn this up a bit over here. This will not affect your audio. I'm just going to turn it up for myself here so I can rock out a bit more. I hope you guys are also having a good rockin' day because that's the kind of day we want you to be having. Absolutely. I hope your day is filled with guitars and pizza. That's what my days are usually filled with. And also exercising, because as much pizza as I eat, I need to maintain my feminine figure. You know, I just realized my button's I can't believe it. I'm sure that everyone has shut up. They're like, his button is unbuttoned. I'm out. G sharp minor. We have a situation here. That's a fun little song. We're going to keep the G sharp minor going because that's just what we do on this album. And for those who may be new, the way I decide when I'm going to do G sharp minor in any given show is because this stuff's all been recorded in advance and I have no choice. That's just the way it works. This album happens to have 2 G sharp minor songs in a row. We're going to slow it way down on this one. This is definitely a slower piece. This is dedicated to my grandma Helen. On every album that I do, I dedicate one song, sometimes more than one song, but usually one song to someone that I know, that I like, people that I've worked with, family members, friends, colleagues, acquaintances, whatever, people I like. And so I had four albums in a row where I dedicated to each posthumously to my grandparents because basically I was really busy at the time, and I'm like, every time I dedicate a song to someone, I get in touch with them, I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure it's okay, I use your name, this is going to be public. And generally speaking, people are good with it. But I was like, I don't want to deal with people right now, so I'm just going to dedicate songs to dead people. I need to play all 4 of those albums in one day and call it Love Songs for the Dead. It's going to have to come up soon. All right. The song is called The Rain is Speaking to Me. For dead grandma. One of my dead grandmas. All right. So, Obscure Mysticism Cults. I'm glad you're excited about everything. Thank you everybody for being here wherever you're tuning in from. I know I got people on, I'm broadcasting to 12 different websites. And, I think it looks like I might have some people on Nemo, on Twitch, possibly on Facebook, YouTube for sure. So thank you very much for being here, wherever you're tuning in from. I do appreciate it. I always have a good time doing these shows. How many songs do we got on this album? That's one I never remember Looks like we got 11 songs on this album. Because we got a ways yet to go. Got a good 5 songs left here. We're going to pick it up a bit. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Obscure. I'm glad that I'm playing well. I feel like that's one of those things where, as a musician, when you're performing, and in a live scenario, which whether it's online or in person or whatever, you don't really have the same sense of whether or not you're doing a great job. So I've had some days where I felt I was really playing well. I go and I listen back to the show and I'm like, I was not playing that well. And some days I think I was playing terrible. I go back and I listen and it's like, no, that sounds fine. And other days I'm like, yeah, I'm totally in the zone. And I go back and listen, I'm like, yeah, I was totally in the zone. So it can be really kind of challenging to have your on the spot analysis of what you're doing, particularly since this is so largely improvised. So thank you very much. I appreciate the compliments, and I'm glad you like this album. I feel like albums 55 through 64 are probably my best work. And those were done in about a 2.5 month period. I was popping out an album a week at that point. I'd done an album a week from albums 2 through 50, and then I slowed down a bit, and then Sarah and I moved to where we're at now, and of course that slowed me down quite a lot more. And then once we got settled, I got back on my weekly schedule up through my 64th album, and now I'm working on album 65, which is turning into to probably my second longest album ever. I think I worked on, my first album from start to finish was about 14 years. That was just a drawn out project, a lot of learning in that case. And then my second album I probably spent about 1.5 years on, maybe 2 years. And I'm over 1.5 years on album 65 now, but that's because I'm just there are things that I'm not figuring out. Like there's something about the sound of the guitars in that. I think I'm gonna have to record the guitars over, which doesn't bother me at all. But I need to know what's wrong with the sound of the guitars before I do it. And if I can figure that out, and it might be something that I don't need to re-record them, which would also be fine. I can go either way on that. But yeah. So that album 65, which is called Incomprehensible Isolation, and that is not a reference to the current state of the pandemic. That's just a phrase that I saw on someone's Twitch bio, and I'm like, I'm taking that for my next album. He's like, cool. So yeah, we'll see what goes on with that. I've been talking about it for, of course, 1.5 years, and here we are, still not playing it. I have played a couple of songs off of that live, just as I was doing like composition streams and stuff. So you can hear a couple of songs off of that if you go and work your way back through my live shows on YouTube. Look for some of the ones where I'm composing, and you might see a bit of that. So there's that. Anyway, let's move forward. So we just had 2 songs in G sharp minor. We're going to take one of those sharps off and make this one into C sharp minor. Still a very good key. I like all 12 keys though, so I'm pretty nonpartisan when it comes to keys. I'm not a key snob. I don't think I really have a favorite key. But G sharp minor is probably the one we're going to vote for. So anyway, we're in C sharp minor now. This is called Reintegrating Our Shadows. always kind of a little adventure when I do these shows because I don't have any of these albums memorized. If someone was to ask me to like repeat that solo I just played, no idea. And I have no desire to go back and look at the recordings and figure out how any given solo was ever played. It's just improvising. So it's just kind of an adventure, like, hey, let's just kind of see where this goes, right? And it's the same thing when I get done with a song and I've got my sheet music on the screen here in front of me, and it's just kind of like, I don't remember what song comes next. And then a page pops over and I'm like, oh, got it, that one, cool. So it's just kind of like, I don't even know where we're going here. Always makes it an interesting little event. Even though I've played like this album, Bucket of Blood, I've played quite a few times live in these online shows, and still don't even remember the song titles, don't remember where I go with anything until it gets there, and then it's like, all right. And this one, I did a lot of times I will practice an album. Oh, those lights are bright. I'll practice an album, the day before, just kind of run through it and make sure I know where I'm at. And I did do that for Four-Sided Triangle, which I'm going to play in the 8 o'clock show. But this one, I'm like, I've played this enough. I don't need to practice it. And so sometimes I'll have a little reminder there the day before of kind of what's coming up. This one, I haven't run through this since whenever I played it live last, so I was like, I have no idea what's going on, but I like it. So now I see that we're going to play song number 8, which is called Directly at the Sun. This one's in B minor. And one thing, I was just talking about how I largely improvise these. I've talked about this on stream before, but what I often do is I'll have like a little motif that I've set up. So in this particular song, right as I start playing, you'll hear, and that's all of the solo that I have written, and that just kind of sets the feeling for what it is that I might do with my guitar solo at that point. And then I branch off there and start improvising and just see where things go. And sometimes it goes somewhere good, and sometimes I'm like, could have done that better. For those who may be just tuning in, I'm just kind of standing here talking. I'm the Mad Poets. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society, and this is what we do. Every Friday at noon and 8 p.m. in the Pacific time zone, I come on, I play original heavy metal. And right now we are playing my 62nd album. The album is titled Bucket of Blood. As I just explained, I do largely improvisational guitar solos over original music. This song is called Directly at the Sun. Directly at the sun. What we got coming up here? Looks like we're getting some F. Oh yeah, okay. So this song. See, this is one I should have practiced last night. I didn't remember this song was on this album. This song, I would say, I have screwed up more than any other song. And now that I'm talking about it, I'm probably prepping myself to screw up. I think that the main thing is I don't really look at the pattern correctly. The key pattern, the scale pattern that I play out of. And this opening motif on it, I don't know, I tend to play this wrong. So, let's see what happens. Nonetheless, you guys have a choice to make because the title of this song is also kind of, I don't know, maybe it's a command or a suggestion. But sometimes when I'm playing it, I feel like the title of the song is correct because I'm pretty sure I've screwed this one up more than any other song that I ever play. I'm going to get it right today, though. Yeah, see, if I just look at the F minor pattern, then it makes sense. I just so often don't do that. Let's see if I can look at an F minor pattern today. This song is called Do Not Listen to This Song. I don't know why that lick has always given me so much trouble. It's really not a terribly hard lick to play. But yeah, that one has always kind of messed with me. Alrighty then. We're moving in toward the last couple songs of the show here. For anyone who may be coming in late, I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. Right now we're playing my 60-second album. It's called Bucket of Blood. Song number 10 of 11 of album number 62. Looks like we're in E Phrygian. And this is called Obsidian Eyes. All right, gangsters. We got one more song left for the early show today. I will be back at 8 o'clock p.m. in the Pacific time zone. Adjust for your own time zone as necessary if you are in fact so inclined. Tonight at the 8 o'clock show, I will be playing my 43rd album, which is called Four-Sided Triangle. I was originally going to put that out as my 33rd album because triangle, but then I realized Four-Sided Triangle 43 would make a lot more sense. So that's what I did. And so that one's all ready to go. I had to work up a new light show for that one. That's why I haven't played it in so long. I'm looking forward to getting that one back into live rotation. There's some, I think if you enjoy this album, a lot of what is on that one will also appeal to you. Definitely longer songs on that one. I've only got 8 songs on that, and it's just about the same length of time. So I went with longer songs on that one. Very enjoyable album now. This last piece for the afternoon show is a song that got the title idea from my awesome daughter Renee, who is occasionally in chat with us, but she's out doing grown-up stuff today because she's a grown-up. And that's what happens to kids. So if you only like the babies, don't have children, because they're going to turn into little jerks, and then grown-ups, which are just big jerks, because that's what we are. We're people. Nonetheless, thank you very much for being here. I do appreciate it. This has been a very fun show for me. I think when I get done with this song, I'm going to go up and make some pizza, because that is what the Mad Poet do. This piece is called Ascension of the Angel's Carcass. All right, every people, thank you so much for being here. This was a very fun show for me. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I am the Mad Poet. You are an audience. We are the Mad Poet Society. I will be back at 8 o'clock p.m. in the Pacific time zone. Adjust for your own time zone as necessary if you are so inclined. If you are interested in more of my work, go to themadpoet.net, where you can click on Twitch and come right back here, or you can click on YouTube and come right back to where you're at, where you will also find a link to themadpoet.net, where you can click on themadpoet.net and go back to Twitch from themadpoet.net and back to themadpoet.net from Twitch and get stuck in an infinite loop of the Mad Poet. And it'll be fun for all involved. And thank you very much for Obscure Mysticism Cults for being here. Thank you very much to everyone else who is here. I will be back at 8 o'clock. I hope you have a great guitar and pizza-filled day, and I will see you on the other side.